Alright, good evening, my friends. The United States is becoming a Marxist hellhole, my friends. To our new regime, memes are election interference, but arresting your opponents, the opposition's leading candidate, is not. So we're going to go into this here in a second, but let's take a look at de-dollarization, my friends. It's zero hedge. France buys 65,000 tons of LNG, that's liquefied natural gas, from China. They don't produce any of that stuff in first ever yuan denominated trade. So China has completed its first trade of LNG, settled in yuan, so on and so forth. So the trade involved 65,000 tons of LNG imported from UAE, the United Arab Emirates, because China will never admit that it is re-exporting Russian liquefied natural gas, even though it probably does it all the time. And the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange added the French supermajor, one of the world's top LNG traders, confirmed to Reuters, so not some fringe site, that the trade involved LNG imported from UAE, but declined to comment further on the deal. So, from Zhao Shui, I guess, we are witnessing the end of US dollar hegemony, my friends. Love that word. And you do not want to live in a United States where we are not the world reserve currency. Your life will change immensely. Also, I thought this happened last week, but I only saw this today. This is Asia Times. China and Brazil reach RMB, that's the yuan-based trade deal. I thought the yuan was still pegged to the US dollar. I mean, that's not important here because there aren't any dollars involved in the trade. So, following the footsteps of Russia and Iran, Brazil will allow its exporters to receive the Chinese currency. Again, de-dollarization is accelerating. You may scratch your head and wonder why. And I thought France and UAE were our allies. I don't know. We're not being run by serious people, my friends. So, this is WND, Uganda's latest anti-gay law. Why should we care? The answer is, we shouldn't. It's their country. They can do whatever the fuck they want over there. So, there's no end to opportunities for us to wonder what the fuck is going on in the mind of Beijing Biden regarding the policies of our government. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't really know. I doubt he knows anything about this topic, but his handlers are handling it in a ridiculous fashion, my friends. You know, I'm talking Susan Rice, Val Jarrett. She's Iranian, by the way. And that muff diver, Vicky Newland. So now we find out the country of Uganda, I know where it is, and they talk down to you, is doing concerning the treatment of gay people and how it relates to us. It does not. So after years of debate and discussion, who even gives a fuck about Uganda? Seriously, I don't. A parliamentary vote was taken there last week on a bill that calls for life sentence for anyone engaging in gay sex in the majority of Christian country. And Beijing Biden and his people don't give two shits about Christianity. They want to get rid of it. That's why they target Christians with insane transgender mass shooters and then claim the mass shooter is the victim. If someone even tries to engage in gay sex, they would face a prison term of 7 years, and the vote was 389 in favor, 2 opposed. Sounds rock solid, Uganda. Go ahead. So, back to Show Trial USA. Okay, here we go. Doug Mackey on the right here was convicted of election interference for making memes. And Captain Fat Fuck in the middle looks like he loves ribs and possibly... No, don't say that. Alvin Bragg is interfering in the 2024, and this is human events, if I failed to mention that, by indicting the leading opposition candidate on bogus charges. And, you know, I've looked at all the things that are coming up against Trump. This one just seems the weakest. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. So Mackey was sentenced to 10 years in prison today, in New York, I might add. What the fuck is going on in New York? Are just all jurists who can't figure out how to get out of jury duty fucking insane? Maybe. Bragg is celebrated by media pundits and his Democrat cronies for targeting Blue Anon media pundits for targeting the man they all fear. That's the Cheeto Hitler, Donald Trump. And they had their massive happy boners today. Of course, Beijing Biden has no comment about the bogus indictment. I'm sure he was involved. Or not. Joe does not know what the fuck's going on. I'm sure his people were involved. And this is a curious one. Mrs. Vodka Tampon, Nancy Pelosi, remarked that Trump will have a chance to, quote, prove his innocence. That's not how that works, Nancy. Maybe she got into the smearing off a little early to this day, which shows that for Democrats, Trump's guilt is a foregone conclusion, and there will be no due process. There most likely won't be any due process, but I got a feeling Trump's going to make this just a spectacle, an amazing spectacle. He probably wants to get cuffed. He wants this mugshot to get out because that will be a public record and not copyrighted. And it's going to get blasted all around the fucking world. The memes are going to be fantastic. So this will be a show trial, just as Mackey's was, where witness intimidation by far-left reporters went unchallenged and the prosecution could produce no evidence of guilt. Yes, there will be much intimidation, much leftoid rage, just like there was around Tennessee and Kentucky. Looked very insurrection-y to me, but none of those people will even get punished at all. So, the only reason Mackey was prosecuted is because he made jokes about Hillary Clinton voters and Trump won. Had the opposite happened, or no, if Trump had not won, he would have been fine. Maybe, most likely. So Mackey was arrested, tried, and convicted for stating opposition to the Democrat candidate is an absolute horror and represents a huge decline in the value of American rights. So, again, Beijing Biden's people worried about Uganda. Worried about the gazes in Uganda. So, Mackey posted memes leading up to the 2016 election, joking that Hillary voters could just text their vote instead of showing up. Yet the Department of Justice could not produce a single victim of his alleged crime or find a single person who was fooled by the joke into throwing their vote away on a text message. Not one. So, unable to produce a single victim at trial, and he faces 10 years in prison. He immediately appealed, and he hopefully will be on bond awaiting the appeal. That's not going to be for a few years, and it should be immediately thrown out. But these days, who the fuck knows? Mackey exercises free speech rights, joking about the establishment progressive Democrats leading presidential candidate, suggesting that those who intended to vote for Hillary Clinton were accustomed to doing what they're told. So, grand old memes, good follow. Sharing memes, election interference. Arresting a political party's leading political candidate, not election interference. So the department, oh yeah, by the way, French woman arrested for calling President Macron filth on Facebook. So it's not just the United States thing. Western governments in the world are turning all Marxist on us, my friends, which is probably why they're trading in yuan. So the Department of Justice convicting Mackey is no better than the Chinese Communist Party arresting a woman in Hong Kong for speaking out against their authoritarian practices, probably on COVID. But the detention of the Uyghur people, no comment about that. Beijing Biden's peeps have no comment on that. And it makes it no better than Stalin, Lenin, Mao, Pol Pot targeting citizens who disagree with their regimes. And he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for a joke. Bragg is, of course, going after Trump to prevent him from serving a second term as president, but it's going to backfire hugely. Hugely. Bragg, Democrats, and the media want to punish Trump for winning, even though they had 5 good years of traffic from rage-induced leftoids, and to punish Americans for voting for him. Make no mistake, they're going to do that. They're starting to now. They've tried everything. The House impeached him twice, both on bullshit. The Department of Justice prosecuted Mackey, raided Trump's home in search of classified documents. The media seems to think we're stupid and don't know that former presidents can keep classified documents. So, again, they think there are superiors. They found nothing in which they could prosecute Trump. They've been doing it for 7 fucking years, and the best they can come up with is a payoff to a porn star to not disclose they slept together, and then say this payoff in some way helped his campaign. There's no reason to believe that Trump supporters would hold any past indiscretions against him in the first place. And never mind hearing that those indiscretions would make them vote for Hillary, because we'd basically be where we are now in the first 2 years of Hillary. But thank God we had the halcyon days of 2018 and 2019. Mackey's conviction shows that free speech only applies if you don't disrupt power elites from their games. And Trump's an outsider. They don't want him coming in because he's proposing some very nice sounding things like, get this, term limit for the cocksuckers in Congress, my friends. Get those fucking boomer fossils the fuck out of there. Trump's indictment shows the same thing. If Trump had not won the presidential election and served as president in 2016, he would not. And if he were not running again, Bragg wouldn't probably even bring Trump's name up. And he wouldn't have run on a campaign of going after Trump, working so hard to come up with a bullshittest accusation to blow it on a felonious case. And this should be instantly dismissed, but again, I have no faith in the New York court system right now. Democrats don't care at all that Hillary Clinton and the DNC were charged with the same misdemeanor of falsifying records by claiming the money paid to an opposition research firm were legal fees, the exact same thing. And then it's about the Russia dossier that they paid $113,000 for, and they were slapped with a fine. And Mackey wasn't the only person to post almost the exact same meme that supporters of opposing parties' candidates text their vote instead of showing up at the polls. This bitch did it too. Christina Wong. Like Asians, but she's no. A little too Democrat for most prosecutors, of course. Double standards, my friends. Or the Democrats would have no standards at all. So what we're learning, the Beijing Biden administration, well, his handlers, and the Democrats and their ideological captured institutions, is that Americans who don't speak the words they are told, who don't follow the orders that are received, and are not entitled to have their rights protected. If Mackey has no rights to free speech, and Trump has no right to be free from frivolous prosecution, and neither do us. That's why this whole Restrict Act, a lot of my stuff kind of all themes together. The economy's fucked, our political system's fucked, and this warmongering, it sucks. So they all kind of blend together, which is why that if that Restrict Act gets passed, the internet's over. We're all going to go to jail. They're going to have to build tons of prisons for all of us, my friends. So that's that. That's all we're going to do. That's quite enough, my friends. 10 years from fucking memes. I guess I haven't done any good enough ones yet. So that's it. That's all we're going to do. Thanks for watching. Smash that subscribe button. Should I put this on YouTube? I might be able to. What the hell? I only got like 12 subscribers there, but I love all 12 of you. So that's it. Thank you for non-perishable food, and God bless.